me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
I think recognizing that everyone approaches life with the background they were raised in, their family, their economic status, their, belief. I think the phrase that sticks with me the most is, it's not good, it's not bad, it's just different. Seeing the beauty in those differences and finding ways to identify that, especially if I'm, if there's someone that's difficult to work with, or someone you don't understand when you first interact with them, it's, I try to approach those people with, okay, what can I learn about you to connect better?
Welcome back to the Leadership Series on the Daily Parks and Rec Show, where we explore the careers and journeys of parks and recreation directors. Today we're joined by Audrey Cooper, a leader with a passion for public service. We'll be delving into her work in the scenic town of Chelan, Washington, a community defined by its massive, crystal clear lake and a unique mix of agricultural history, tourism, and a large Hispanic population. We'll discuss how the Parks Department manages this popular tourist destination, from providing access to the water to balancing the diverse interests of residents and visitors. Join us as we learn about Audrey's dedication to her community and her innovative approach to managing Chelan's unique natural resources. Let's dive in. All right, we're back again. I have Audrey Cooper. This is Craig LeBlanc, the doorman with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. This is our leadership series where we go into the careers and journeys and kind of life path of directors in parks and recreation, and try to understand who they were, why did they choose this profession, how's it going? And so thank you for being with us today, Audrey.
Thanks for having me, Craig. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. We per usual, we're going to play two little promos. One of them is just going to be our thank you for everyone that contributed, came on and told their story to Parks and Recreation, as we get better and better at telling the story of Parks and Recreation to lift the industry up. And then also we're going to follow it with many of the vendors reaching out to us. We're finally ready to start co-creating shows with strategic partners. And so we made a little kind of promo for that. So we'll play those two, and then we'll be right back with Audrey. From a simple mic in a rec center to a full-scale media company for the people who power our parks. 200 real stories, 5 original shows, and more to come, with one powerful mission: to lift up the voices of parks and rec professionals across the country. From maintenance crews and young interns and youths who love sports, to directors and public servants making a difference. We've built a platform that honors the unsung heroes behind every clean trail, every weekend tournament, every safe, welcoming park. This milestone isn't just about the content, it's about the people, the passion, the purpose. To every guest, listener, and supporter, thank you. The next chapter starts today. This is DPRS Media Co. Media for public service. Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co., we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co. puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product, growing your presence in public spaces, targeting cities, counties, or departments, DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team.
Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion parks and rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move parks and rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.
All right, Audrey. So now you're in Washington, but how do you pronounce your city's name? I don't want to mess it up.
It's a good question. I'm in Chelan, Washington.
I would have messed that up so
That's
bad.
okay. You wouldn't be the first one.
Chelan. What is the is that like a native name or what?
It is, yeah.
You know the history behind it?
Yeah, it's one of the tribes out here.
Ah, okay. Do y'all have, is it, you have an Indian tribe or reserve that's next to you or in your county or city or something?
We do have some native land, not in my town, but the town up lake. We're on a very large lake called Lake Chelan.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back into kind of how did you get into Parks and Recreation? I don't know if you were you like a park rat that grew up in Parks and Rec, or did you discover it late in life? Like,
you know, I wish I could claim the title of a Parks and Rec kid. Unfortunately, not. I fell into it right out of college. So I, like many people finishing college, was trying to find a job, couldn't find a job. And I had a friend who said, hey, I'm working here at this parks department in programming and summer camps, and you should come check it out. So I started out in programming and part-time working with kids after school and in summer camps. And after probably about 6 months of doing that, I realized I really like this. This is a lot of fun. I have really great people that I work with. I worked with youth previously and liked being able to invest in the youth in my community, and really liked the avenue of Parks and Recreation as the kind of the path to work with kids. So after a few months of that, I said, I want to keep doing this, and was starting to apply for full-time positions as they came up. And it took me a little while, but eventually landed a full-time role as an assistant site supervisor was the title, kind of second in charge of one of the school locations. So the department I worked for at the time had 11 after-school programs, or it ran in 11 elementary schools. So I was kind of one of 11 in that position. And
so, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, carry on.
So how long did it take you for that progression, like from school to kind of having that first management position?
It took me, let's see, after I started applying, about a year. And it took a couple of no's, which was hard to hear no, not you. But I stayed with the department and kept trying and kept improving my skills and trying to prove myself. And I think it was the third time I applied for the job is when I got it.
And so what was it like back then to, like, when you say kept trying to improve my skills, what were the skills that you saw, or maybe they even told you, like, as soon as you get better at this, or, you know, if we have young professionals that are kind of seeing themselves like you were back then, what were some things that you worked on to try to improve yourself for that position?
That's a great question. So one of the things I knew I needed to improve on was kind of conflict management, or knowing how to have challenging conversations with, since I was working with youth, is particularly one with the kids and with the parents. Whether it be on collecting payment for programming, it's always hard to go up and talk to someone about, hey, you need to pay, or having a conversation with a parent about, you know, something that happened to their child in the program. Maybe they got injured, and so kind of walking them through, here's what happened, here's the steps that we took to take care of your child, or maybe it was a behavior issue. So having to have the confidence to speak with those parents, to speak clearly, to share the right information was definitely one skill that I needed to work on, and asked my supervisors to give me the opportunity to practice that. So something that my supervisors would typically take care of, I asked them, can I try some of this to give me some practice?
Nice. That's good, man. That takes some courage. Please give me the problems. Do you have a parent that's ready to strangle us? Can I talk to her?
Yeah, yeah. And I think they gave me some of the hard ones too, maybe because
Oh
they
my
didn't want to
goodness.
handle it or just to see how I would do, out of the frying pan and into the fire.
I don't think you'll ever have any superior above you say no to that
No.
request. Glad absolutely. We have so much for you to practice on.
Yeah.
Anything else? Well, conflict resolution, that is a big one, especially if you've never dealt with conflict before.
Mhm.
I guess, skills or things that you did to get better at conflict resolution. I'm thinking, maybe just remaining calm in the storm, not adding fuel to the fire, but anything like that?
Yeah, I think keeping a level head and knowing when is the right time to have those conversations, because sometimes in the moment it's too heated. And it's being able to tell, whether I'm having a conflict with someone or I'm mediating conflict, let's say between two employees, is recognizing when is the appropriate time to have the conversation. Is it right
Mhm.
now? Or do we need to step away, cool off a little bit, have time to think about it, but not push it under the rug? Like the conversation still needs to happen. So identifying the most opportune moment to have a
Mhm.
successful conversation where, all parties are receptive and
Mhm.
willing to converse, because if you've got someone who's defensive, your conversation's not going to go very far, and there's not going to be a lot of listening that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely listen in those situations because
Mhm.
sometimes people just wanna be heard, and that was the only thing you needed to do, was just sit
Mhm.
there and listen.
Yep.
Maybe there is no solution to the problem, but at least they felt heard.
Yeah, I know a lot of times the question I ask is, what do you need from me? Or what do you want from me? Because
Mhm.
usually you can quickly identify the people who just want to talk about it. They don't
Mhm.
necessarily need a solution. They just want someone to be supportive,
Right.
someone who's got their back if they're having a tough situation. And I find, especially with leading staff, that they're often very capable of handling the problems, but
Mhm.
they just need to know their supervisor and their team will support them as they are fixing those problems or addressing them.
Yeah,
No,
that's a
no
big
one wants to go about those things alone. You always
Mhm.
want to have someone to back you up.
Yeah, that's a big life lesson right there.
Hmm.
We can repeat that one. Uh, just support your staff. Okay, while we're on this subject, let's maybe pull the curtain back a little of Parks and Rec. I know in Parks and Rec, we always talk about this is the beauty of it. This is why we do it. But what are some of the dark things of Parks and Rec that are natural occurrences in Parks and Rec? I'll give you a great example. You know, parents maybe trying to live through their children and being a little too active in sports or maybe a little too intense. Are
Hmm.
there any others like that? And then how do you handle those? Because I think you kinda said how you handle the parent, patience,
Hmm.
calm in the storm, listen to them. What are some of the other things in Parks and Rec that, are, super are a little bit challenging at first?
That's a good one. I think in related to programming, differing expectations
Mm,
and different cultural practices, I think, are two things that I've experienced. So, differing expectations might be, you might have a parent or a guardian who thinks that if we're running a summer camp that has sports activities, though that isn't the focus of the program, that's one of the activities that's offered, that we are raising the next NFL star. And so setting the expectations of the programming that we are offering
mhm,
and the benefits to the participants might be a different in misalignment with what the parent wants.
yeah,
Um, because oftentimes we're giving kids the introduction to the sports, to the
mhm,
arts, not necessarily teaching them the highest skills. It's not like a private coach or personalized instruction. So helping the parents and the guardians understand that what we're offering is giving kids a wide variety of options, and it's
mhm,
it's for all abilities and all skill levels,
yeah.
so that every kid can participate, whether they're the kids out at the edge of the baseball field who are picking weeds and looking at the grass,
That was
or
me.
or the ones who are hitting home runs. We want all of them to come and
Yeah,
participate with us.
yeah. And I think that really is, the best position for Parks and Recreation because this is public land, public funds, public labor. we can't just make programs for less than 1% of the population that might get a D1 scholarship.
Yep.
We're trying to do stuff that includes everybody, and the field belongs to everybody, and the coaches and staff belong to everybody. But I'm so glad that you're focused on that, because that seems to be where Parks and Rec is. But a lot of these elite travel parent teams, they want to like push Parks and Rec into this, make my son a pro athlete or daughter a pro athlete. Anything else to say on that before we move to the next one?
The topic on cultural differences. So the programming that I ran in the community I used to live in, this was back when I was in Indiana. I lived in Indiana for about 10 years before I moved here to Washington. Was a very culturally diverse area, and I loved that. My undergraduate degree is in intercultural studies, which is kind of like a cultural anthropology degree, social science focused. So did a lot of international travel. So I loved living in an area that had a variety of cultures, and I really enjoyed being able to help bridge those gaps. And at times it was challenging, because when you're working with families who parent differently based on their culture, that required me training my staff to know how to work with these kids differently, how to converse with these parents, that, if there's, an issue of some kind, we might take it seriously based on how we operate our programs, but culturally that might not be an issue for that family. So being able to learn how to communicate our expectations and doing it respectfully to recognize those other cultures was a good challenge to learn how to navigate. And I really enjoyed it in the end, because I liked the diversity there.
What was the most interesting culture that you visited? Was it outside the country, or was it just within America?
That I experienced? That's a good question. So I did a little bit of studying abroad in college. So I got the chance to go to Mexico for a period of time, which I really enjoyed, because I was studying Spanish. Then I also had a chance to go to Israel, which was really unique to see the history out there. Two very, very different places and totally different experiences. But one, I encourage anyone in college who's thinking about studying abroad, I encourage people to do it if it's an opportunity they can take.
And what were some of the big takeaways or moments that you had that kind of shaped how you lead today?
I think recognizing that everyone approaches life with the background they were raised in, their family, their economic status, their belief, faith systems, their cultural upbringing, and that I think the phrase that sticks with me the most is, it's not good, it's not bad, it's just different.
Right.
And seeing the beauty in those differences and finding ways to identify that, especially if I'm, if there's someone that's difficult to work with, or someone you don't understand when you first interact with them. It's I try to approach those people with, okay, what can I learn about you to connect better, so I can understand who you are and what you bring to the table.
I see. Yeah, and then that you can see how that would easily translate into Parks and Recreation, because you've got you really don't get to choose the culture of your community. It just is. It's been there before you got there.
Yep. Absolutely.
Now, what's unique about the culture that you find in where you're at right now?
Yeah. So Chelan's an interesting and a good town. So it's, like I said, it's on a very large lake. It's actually the third deepest lake in the country.
Really?
It's 50 miles long. It's right on the eastern side of the North Cascade Mountains. So it's fed by mountain runoff. It's this beautiful crystal clear lake.
And, oh my goodness. How big is it? How big? How many acres is the lake?
Ooh, I don't know acres. It's 50 miles long.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
And then how deep is it, or do you know?
Ooh, the deepest portion is like 1,400 feet deep. It's insanely deep. Yeah. So it's cold most of the year, but it doesn't freeze over because it's so deep.
Right.
So this town has a really rich agricultural history. So the rest of the landscape around us and the foothills of the mountains are actually very dry. So we only get about 11 inches of precipitation every year, which is quite dry. So when settlers came to the town and started farming, it was all irrigated. And the volcanic soil here makes it very good for growing. And so there's a large fruit tree industry. So we've got apples, pears, cherries, grapes for wine are really prevalent around here. And we have this giant lake that we can, pull all of our irrigation from. So really rich agricultural history. But then over time, the beauty of the lake attracted people here too. And so at the same time, we've had a large tourism development that has come in, and it's been known as this is the place where people in Washington come to in the summer when they want to cool off from the heat and get away from the big city for a few days. So we have a lot of tourism here. And then in 2020, when COVID happened, a lot of people who owned second homes here, or people who realized that they could do their job virtually and didn't need to report to an office anymore, said, I love vacationing in Chelan so much. Why don't we move here? So we have a lot of newer people coming into town from other parts of the state. So we've got this interesting mixture of the agricultural history, the tourism that booms in the summer. So a lot of people coming and going, newer residents that have been here for less than 10 years. And then we also have a very large Hispanic population that are here seasonally for the agricultural work and year round as well. With the tourism work, there's a lot of labor that goes into supporting the restaurants, the wineries, the hotels. And so some of those people live here in town. It is expensive to live here. So some people have to commute in from other places. So at times, a lot of competing interests and very differing interests between the group.
Yeah. Now, how what's the big city that y'all are close to? What's the next big city?
The big city is at Wenatchee, which is about 45 minutes away, and that is about 35,000 people.
Okay. And how far are y'all away from which y'all's largest city is Seattle, correct?
Seattle's about three hours away.
Okay. And then what's the population of Chelan?
Chelan. It's in the off season, 4,500, and then in the summertime we have about 25,000 people here.
Oh wow, yeah. So that really is it's a vacation city.
Oh yes. Our streets feel it in the summertime.
Oh my goodness. So what do y'all kind of do as far as the culture of? Is it festivals? Is it special events, or does the Parks and Rec department kind of gear up in anticipation of all this?
Honestly, the Parks Department in supporting all of the tourists here is access to the water. So we, as the Parks Department, manage about 2,000 feet of lakeshore in two of our two main parks. And those are the destinations that people come to in Chelan. They might stay in the hotels nearby, but they come to our parks to be on the beach, to get in the water, to rent a paddleboard, to rent a pontoon boat to enjoy the lake. So our parks are kind of the gateway to enjoy the lake for the vast majority of the tourists that come here.
I see. Yeah, so they're really just playing on the lake, and y'all just make sure that everyone has access to it.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so now as far as the Cascade Mountains, none of that's like skiing or anything like that.
Oh yeah, we've got lots of skiing up here.
Oh goodness.
Yep. I've got about 6 ski hills I could get to on any given day if I want.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, I didn't realize do y'all have is it like snowboarding, skiing, all the above, snowmobile, everything back country?
Oh yeah. And that's honestly what I love about Washington is there's so much public land. And coming from the Midwest, that was an interesting kind of shift of mindset because Midwest and the eastern side of the country, most land is privately owned. There's very little public land. And even in Indiana, where I was before, there was some public land that didn't have public access. They were, wildlife refuges, nature preserves that were, owned by state or federal agencies, but they didn't have public access. So out here, public land is it's a very different beast. And I love it because you might have Forest Service land that there might be a trailhead, which is like a gravel section off the side of the road. And then you've got miles of trails and you can easily get to being alone in the middle of the woods, and the access, there's so much access to the public land, which is really nice, and I wish was in other parts of the country. I know it's more common in the western side of the US because there's just more land that's undeveloped and more land that's harder to develop, and that's why they're managed publicly, because you can't farm it, you can't mine it. So it's public space, and I want it to stay public space because it's vital for our people to be able to get outside, to be out in nature, and to disconnect from technology, and get out in the fresh air.
Yeah, a friend of mine just moved to Utah, and I was there for a week a couple weeks ago. And just the states in general are so huge out west. And there were, like you said, there was so much public land, and we went to Canyons Land and Dead Horse and all these gorgeous things in Utah. And me being from Louisiana, where, like you said, everything's already been bought.
Yep.
And just different, totally different culture. But yeah, I mean, it's like, if I had to guess, a third, maybe even more than half of the state is just publicly owned and managed, and just either by federal or state parks, which is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and break a little bit early, because I want to get into our YPN discussion, and I want to play a little promo for it. And I don't want to break it up in the middle. So what I'll do is I'll play a promotion for our facilities maintenance show, which airs before this show, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Thursday. And then we have our Young Professionals Network show, which is every Friday at 12 noon Eastern. And Audrey was involved in that. And so I just want to hear about her take on it. So we'll play these two promos, and then we'll come right back.
Behind every thriving park, every safe playground, every event-ready field, there's a team working before sunrise and long after sunset. This is Facility Maintenance, the only show created for and by the unsung heroes of Parks and Recreation. Brought to you by DPRS Media Co., where real work gets real recognition. From restrooms to rec centers, HVAC to turf tech, we go beyond the job site into the heart of operations that keep our communities moving. Our mission? To elevate maintenance teams through stories, solutions, and shared experience. Our vision? A world where every facility crew is seen, valued, and fully supported. Each episode features operators, innovators, and leaders, sharing tools, tech, and tactics that make the impossible look easy. Facility maintenance isn't just a job. It's purpose, it's passion, and now it's a show. Facility Maintenance, where tools meet purpose, where work becomes legacy. Are you ready to lead the next generation of Parks and Rec? Whether you're a student, intern, or rising leader, welcome to the Young Professionals Network by DPRS Media Co. Our mission? To empower early career professionals in parks and recreation through mentorship, visibility, and real-world leadership development. Our vision? A national network of passionate, prepared, and purpose-driven leaders who shape the future of public service. Starting now. Powered by the Daily Parks and Rec Show, YPN gives you access to exclusive interviews, career-building resources, behind-the-scenes content, and live events, all created by and for the next wave of Parks and Rec professionals. Learn from seasoned directors, build your brand, get involved with national conversations that matter. Whether you're in youth sports, facilities, programming, or policy, YPN is your launchpad. Young Professionals Network, your career, your community, your story.
All right. So how did you hear about YPN? Or when did you hear about it? What's your kind of story into that?
Yeah, let's see. I think I got involved in YPN probably about 3 or 4 years ago. Honestly, it was around the time I went to my first national conference.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember if it was someone who connected me or if I found it on NRPA's website.
Mm-hmm.
But I was preparing to go to my very first national conference. This was in Phoenix in 2021 or 2022. And heard about the Young Professionals Network and that they were going to do a social at the conference, way for young professionals to meet each other, And it was my first time going to a conference in person. I thought, well, this sounds like a good opportunity. And I had a couple of coworkers with me that were going that also were in the young professional realm. And so I convinced them to come along with me to a social, and it was a blast, and actually saw some people there that I already knew, met a whole bunch of new people, and kind of some of the founding members of the Young Professional Network were at that social and just kind of took us in, introduced us to people, and it was just such a welcoming environment and a welcoming group of people, which helped for me like break the ice in my first conference, which can be a little overwhelming if you haven't been to one of those, and thousands of people in a convention center and all the session options, and it was just really nice to from the get-go have a group of people that I could see across the room, see their little YPN name tag,
Right.
and know I could start up a conversation with someone and find common ground. So that was kind of how I got introduced to YPN.
Yeah. And then what was YPN for you from that moment on? In what way was it a resource? What are the things that you learned? How does YPN help connect you? Kind of what are the benefits of being a part of YPN?
Yeah, so after that conference, I started attending the monthly calls that are coordinated by the chair and the vice chair, and those are leadership positions within the network that rotate through that people can volunteer to be a part of. And I really enjoy those monthly calls because it's different topics that we as the Young Professional Network get to provide input on. What are the topics of interest? What are the areas of the field that we want to learn more, that we want to have an expert come in and facilitate a conversation or have a presentation. So those monthly calls were at times kind of a lifeline to be able to give me connection to other people who are in a similar phase of their career as I am, and continue that professional development to learn, like touching on earlier, continuing to skill up and improve in areas to better myself and to increase the offerings that I can bring to my department and my own skills. So those monthly calls have been really great, and just to stay connected with those people over the years, it's given me really good exposure to other professionals, to hear different opinions, to hear that similar people are facing the same types of challenges that I am. So you kind of create a community that you can commiserate with and celebrate with as well, because there's some really amazing accomplishments that have come from the Young Professional Network, whether it's departments getting CAPRA accredited or winning the gold medal, or awards that individuals within the Young Professional Network have accomplished and received. Lots to celebrate there too.
Yeah. And so are you still active, or you've kind of moved, graduated past that, or?
I still have a couple of years to be considered a young professional, so I'll hold on to it as long as I can. But I do love, so the group is very, they say that 35 is a casual, loose number, and they have a friends of the Young Professional Network, which are people who have moved on or graduated and want to be involved and connected, which I certainly will, because I look at the direction our field of Parks and Recreation is moving, and the young people who are moving into the field now are our future leaders, and want to stay connected and stay involved with those people because they're our future, and that's so valuable.
Yeah, and that's why one of the reasons I started this show and felt like I could really do some good is creating something for the Young Professionals Network, where it may not be as commercially viable for sponsorship as turf management or even project management or stuff like that, but it still is investing in the legacy of Parks and Recreation. These are going to be the people running all of Parks and Rec. You just got to kind of have like a long vision to see where the industry's going, and you got to support people when they're like, you take care of a little oak tree when it's young, knowing that it's going to be a 200 or 300-year-old massive thing, but you got to take care of it in its first few years so it gets a good start. And so I really believe in what the Young Professionals Network is doing, and we're going to do our part to help it. So
Absolutely. And I think there are, some departments. I was lucky where I started off in my career. I had supervisors who invested heavily in me, that gave me the opportunities to explore. They encouraged me, they mentored me, which set me up for success. But I know that not every department has the resources to provide that to their young professionals, whether it be, financial resources for certifications or training, or even just a large enough staff to have, a variety of skill sets to teach young professionals. So I think the Young Professional Network is really valuable for those who their own department might not be able to offer them everything, so that the resources are out there, and it's widening that umbrella to provide for all those young professionals.
Yeah. Now, are you going to NRPA this year?
I will be in Orlando this year.
Okay. So you'll be going to whatever the YPN is offering.
I'm sure. Yep. I'm luckily I was selected to be an extern for the American Academy of Parks and Recreation Association. They do an externship program, which provides a scholarship, which is what allowed me to go to conference this year. So I will be a little tied up with all of the things that the Academy has scheduled for the externs, but outside of that, I will certainly be finding the young professionals in Orlando.
Okay, well, this is new to me. I haven't heard of. It's called the American Academy of what?
Parks and Recreation, AAPRA. It's a long acronym.
Parks and Rec Association. You said American Academy of Parks and Rec Association.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me the story behind that one.
So the externship program is something the Academy's been doing for a number of years, and the Academy is a really vast network of seasoned professionals that they're the ones who sponsor the National Gold Medal Award.
Okay.
And the externship program is targeted for young professionals, and it provides conference registration and a travel reimbursement, and it helps connect young professionals to those who are more seasoned in the industry. And we get paired up with a mentor who's a member of the Academy, and a buddy who is a previous extern. And they're kind of like your guide at conference to help get you connected to people, to walk the exhibit hall together, to talk shop, and to introduce you to other people.
Man, that sounds like a great. Now, is this an offshoot of NRPA or part of NRPA, or is it kind of standalone that collaborates with?
Standalone. I know they collaborate and work with NRPA quite a bit.
Okay. Yeah, so that sounds like, so essentially you get, did you apply, you get nominated?
Yep, it's an application process.
And how many do they award each year?
There are 4 of us.
Oh, wait. I think I know one of your teammates.
Yeah.
Was it Megan? No, wait. Oh, I just interviewed her. Now you're going to make me curious.
Let's see. The other externs, we actually just had a call yesterday. Emmy Roberts, she's in Virginia. Jordan Perry, who's in Rockville, Maryland.
And was it Megan? Was the other one?
Megan, I think, was a previous extern.
That's what it was. Maybe it was last year.
Yeah.
Doing some fellowship or something.
There's been a number of folks who have been in the Young Professional Network leadership that have been previous externs. Molly Keys was a previous extern. Katie McCannon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then they only award 4 to the country. This is a pretty big award for you. Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, I'm very, very honored and very excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, that's going to be, they're going to be expecting big things from you now. The pressure's going to be on.
I already have the pressure on myself. I already expect big things from me.
Fantastic. That's a good place to start from. And so how long does it last for? It's like a 1-year thing?
Mm-hmm.
And is it mostly centered around the convention, or is there like monthly meetings or quarterly meetings with whoever they assign you? We've
had a couple of meetings already, and it's primarily focused on the week of conference, but it's really kind of a starting point. So the mentor and buddy that I've been assigned, we can stay in touch and meet as much and as often as we want.
Right.
So it's really the opportunities presented to the externs, and they can make the most of it
Right.
as much as they want to.
Right. And so how do you feel like it's going to help you as far as giving you just, I mean, it's just like a catalyst for your leadership and connectivity and network? Like, what do you feel like you're really getting out of it?
So one thing I'm looking forward to, because my mentor has been that is Nancy Kaiser, and she is a consultant now, but has been in the Parks and Recreation industry for decades. So she just has vast amounts of knowledge and experience and connections. And so one of the things we talked about that I'm hoping to learn from and to gain from conference is talking with people who work in small towns, because I'm in a small town now and I wasn't before. And those come with different challenges, and you have to approach things differently when you work in a small community. And I'm now in a tourist community, which is also different. And I'm wanting to connect with people and have some meaningful conversations around, what are the challenges that small towns and tourist communities face, and how are, other park professionals navigating that to continue to provide excellent services and facilities to their community, and balancing the different poles that we have from, whether it be locals, whether it be the tourists, limited budget, all of those things. So that's one of the things I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, that's going to be good. And having someone with that experience, it's, when they say hindsight's 2020, and then you get to guide somebody around the obstacles and landmines that you stepped on, learning these hard lessons. It's a lot easier to learn from someone else's mistakes than it is to remake them all yourself.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things I love about working in Parks and Rec. I was actually just talking with my team about it this morning, is we're such a sharing profession that if I have something that's working for me, I'm not going to hide it, and I'm not going to safeguard it. I'm going to tell everyone, hey, here's this thing that worked well for us. Could you use it too? And that's consistently been my experience with other parks professionals, is we love to share our ideas and our failures so that people don't make those same mistakes.
Right. Yeah. A quote from Molly Keys, no such thing as a best kept secret in Parks and Rec.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about project management. I know this is something you're passionate about and you love it. And then we can also intertwine this as the last, 20 minutes, managing physical resources for your park, the natural elements, kids not, being exposed to nature. But let's start off with just project management. Tell us about your passion for project management.
Makes me sound really nerdy, which is fair. I'm a little bit of a nerd. So before I moved here to Chelan, when I was in Indiana, I worked for Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation, and it's where I started my career, and I grew over multiple positions there over my 10 and a half years with them. And like I said, I was highly invested in there, and gave me lots of opportunities to explore different things. And the last role that I had there was planning and projects manager. And it was something that I at first wasn't not that I wasn't interested in it, but it wasn't on my radar. But once I learned a little more about what the role was going to entail and the kind of work I would be doing, it piqued my interest, because I knew it aligned with some of my natural strengths as being a really organized person, a very strategic, thinking through processes, making sure I'm good at following up on things, making sure things don't slip through the cracks. And that's what helped me be successful with project management, is those kind of skills. And, it takes a lot of creating structure or maintaining structure, depending on what you're working with. And it helps projects stay on time, stay on budget, making sure everyone is communicated with that needs to know, so that information is being shared. There's lots of elements to it. So, Craig, what do you want to know?
Well, let's see. Project management is for those thinking of getting in Parks and Recreation. If you're a small city, project management is a never-ending, constant, and it is a skill set. You can actually get a certification in this. A friend of mine in Texas just got his project management certification, and it was like 4 6-inch binders, 4-hour test. And we just kind of did a whole show on project management. But he is a larger city where he can just focus on this. Now, in a smaller city like Audrey, you're kind of the project manager for anything that comes in. So maybe talk about how someone that just doesn't have the luxury of doing nothing but project management handles the projects that you have to manage.
Yeah, that's good, because before I was primarily doing project management, and now that's half of my job title and half of the work that I do.
Right.
So it takes, so one of the things I do that helps me is time blocking. So I will block off my calendar for chunks of time. If there's specific focus work I need to do, I'll turn off my notifications. If I need to shut my office door, I'll do that. I try not to. I like to have an open door, but sometimes you got to get things done.
Right.
So by chunking off times in my day, that helps me stay focused on the task I need to accomplish. I use a project management tool called Asana to help me stay organized. There's a whole bunch of them out there. I think.
What's it called again? How do you spell it?
Asana, ASANA.
ASANA. Now, how did you discover that? Just online? Or
the Carmel Parks that I worked with before, the marketing team used it because they had a lot of recurring tasks, and Asana is very good at kind of if you build out a project that repeats over cycles, like preparing brochures for seasonal programs or marketing campaigns, things that, once a month you're doing the same thing, or every season you're following the same process. It was a really good tool for them to build all of that out. And so I gave it a go since we had an extra license. And specifically for construction projects, I found it really helpful for me to timeline everything out from, when we need to have the plans finished, when you're advertising your bid, when you're opening the bid, preparing the contracts, presenting your bid to council for approval. All of those things have kind of a strict timeline that has to be followed. And if you get behind schedule, or if you don't get something done on time, the whole project gets backed up. And if you're planning to break ground after Labor Day, there's a lot of things that have to be done in advance to keep that that big timeline or that deadline on track. So having a tool to stay on top of all those deadlines has been really helpful for me.
Yeah. Now, is that specific to Parks and Rec, or is it just a general project management?
It's just a general project management tool. And like I said, there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
I think there's even some free ones for people who don't have, a big budget for that. But Asana license is, I don't know, maybe like $200 a year for a user. So
wow, that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah. So I mean, especially since not everyone in a team necessarily needs to use it, if just your key managers have access to it, and it helps keep all of your information in one place rather than having files here, an email there, post-it notes all over your desk. And I use it more than just project management. I use it to manage my own time, that random one task that needs to be done, and add it to the calendar, and catalog it out of your mind and know that it'll be there tomorrow when you have the time to address it.
You can manage your diet and workout schedule, your calendar. That's what we need. We need like one app that manages just life.
Ugh.
That would be, I don't know if we got that just yet. Maybe that's these new AI agents that are being born. Can just be us for a little bit. Okay, so let's then talk about managing physical resources in your park. 'Cause I know that's a huge deal, not just in your city, but in your state and the culture of Washington. And like you said, in the West, it's very different than what we have over here out in Louisiana, or kind of, east of the Mississippi. So let's just talk about, let's just define what is a natural resource.
Oh, natural resource. I mean, it's a broad question.
Because what we think in Louisiana is a natural resource is probably totally different than how y'all think about it over there. So that's why I kind of want to add a little color.
Yeah. I mean, it's any natural element. It's your soil, your landscaping, your trees, your for us, our beaches, your native vegetation, the waterways, all the living creatures that exist in all of those spaces. Those are all of the natural resources.
Hmm. And how big is that I know we had spoken about it earlier, but do you have any idea approximately the percentage of land mass in Washington that's public versus private?
I don't know that number offhand, but I would not be surprised if it's more than 50%,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I wanted people to understand, that this is not just a few hundred square miles. It's half of Washington.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, so like I said, it's about 3 hours between Chelan and Seattle, and 2/3 of that drive is through public land.
Yep. Yep. And it's like that. When I went to Utah, same thing. I was like, where's all the houses and businesses? Oh, this is public land. You can't build on this.
Yep.
Lucky to get a gas station on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And so, as far as managing the physical resources and the lake, that is, I guess, one of these that your city's built around. So what is it like to manage the physical resource of the lake in your neck of the woods or your community?
Yeah, our lake is our greatest natural resource. It's our drinking water. It for many is our livelihood, and the community values the lake, and that is really wonderful because that makes it easy to prioritize projects that promote water quality with the chemicals that we use, or reducing the amount of chemicals that we use for lawn treatment. Since everything is irrigated here, anything green that we see around town is irrigated.
Come from that lake.
Yes, exactly. So being conscious of the water that we're using is something that I want to bring to the table here, of recognizing where is it appropriate to have our lawn space that is great for recreating, for throwing down a blanket, to have a picnic, to kick a soccer ball around. Those spaces are important in the right places. And when you have native vegetation planted in your parks and in your spaces, those require less maintenance than kind of the designer vegetation, or designer plants that often get associated with home developments or other kind of business development. So when you're adding in native vegetation, they don't need as much water naturally because they're adapted to the climate here in the area. They don't need as much pruning or trimming because they, like I said again, are adapted to this place, versus a plant that isn't from here originally is going to need a little more work to survive here. So that reduces our labor costs to trim, to prune, things like that, when you have more native vegetation in your public spaces.
Now, you had mentioned something about kids not being exposed to nature enough. So where does that come from, and how does it kind of manifest itself, and how are you able to do something about it in your current position?
When I was working the after school program, that was something I observed in the kids in my program, is they would like to go outside to go play on the playground. But if we wanted to go take a hike, if we were taking a field trip to a park, they wanted to stay on the playgrounds. They didn't want to go walk in the woods. And I noticed that and wanted to find a way to help give kids exposure to our natural world that helped spark curiosity and helped reduce the fear, because some kids were just afraid because they didn't know. And honestly, it started with, I was thinking about it earlier today, a really enthusiastic volunteer whose kids went to the school that I programmed, and she wanted to help build out a program to teach kids about nature, about green practices. They were called the Helping Ninjas, which was a really fun name. And so I worked with this volunteer to help create a program to just expose kids to nature. And I had a staff member who was really passionate about it and created some really unique activities. And it just kind of branched and grew from there, and ignited a passion within me to learn more about our natural resources, how to manage them and steward them appropriately, which is what spurred me to go get my master's degree, which is in natural resources. So I wanted to take that knowledge of how to manage our lands and how to help kind of bring kids into that space. And so I've had the opportunity to run nature programming where we're having kids stomping in the creek looking for macroinvertebrates under rocks, and teaching kids to identify birds and really giving them all the tools to create and inspire that like wonder and the desire to be out in nature and the curiosity to learn and understand more.
Yeah. Now, did you finish your master's, or are you in the process of getting it, or?
I did finish it, yes. Yeah, I graduated in 2022.
Okay, and how was that? Was it what, a 2-year program? And
I was working full time while I was in grad school, which is no small feat. I don't suggest it unless you've got a lot of grit and a very supportive partner or family. So I took 3 years to finish it because I wanted to take my time and really focus on the content instead of just taking a couple of classes and getting them done, which worked out really well for me. I was in an asynchronous program, so I got to do the work on my own time. I didn't have to log into a night class. It was all online, which was really helpful.
Now, what was your biggest takeaway from that 3-year experience, master's? How's it?
Well, one, that there's so much that I don't know, but I can learn. And I think just how crucial it is to protect our natural resources and how interconnected they are. I think it's easy to consider your turf management practices as disconnected from other parts, but the ecosystems are so intertwined. And taking that into the work that we do in Parks and Recreation, how we're managing our spaces impacts our natural environment. And those have greater consequences than we can really imagine when we're starting a 2-stroke engine to blow leaves around, or we're applying a fertilizer on the turf ball fields so that we have good conditions. Not to say that either of those things are bad, but it's understanding that those actions have further implications than just the work that you're doing. And I enjoy, and I like to challenge staff to recognize that, because not everyone can draw those connections or knows how to draw those connections. Yeah,
that's really good. Okay, so one of the things we do at the end of the show is 2 things. Number 1, if you're standing in front of a group of undecided college-age high school kids that don't know what they want to do with their life, can you give us a small pitch for the industry of dedicating your life to Parks and Rec and what you get out of it?
Ooh, that's good. I think for people who like working with people, this is the type of work for you. If you enjoy helping make other people's lives better in unique and different ways, this is an incredible industry to impact people from 0 to 100. And everyone can participate in Parks and Recreation. Everyone should participate in Parks and Recreation. And there's a niche for every skill set, and we need all those skill sets, whether it's business, whether it's finance or maintenance or programming. Like, there's just so many opportunities, so many different avenues of work that this industry provides, which I think is excellent for anyone who's kind of in that college age or thinking about what they want to do. If I've got this skill set, we could probably use it in Parks and Recreation.
Oh, yeah.
We want to take you, and we want to take that skill set and expand on it.
Yeah, it really is. And so you just put your talents and skills for the service of the public, and all skills are needed pretty much.
Absolutely.
Public is a big group of people.
Yes.
I think it's all of us. Um, okay, so then the other thing we have is
Mhm.
the previous guest left a question for you,
Okay.
and then you get to leave a guess for a question for the next person that's
Okay.
a guest on our show. So this actually comes from Megan Keel
Mhm.
from North Carolina, and she wants to know. This might discredit your previous statement, but what is the weirdest thing that you've encountered in Parks and Recreation?
Oh, weirdest thing. Well, that's a tough one, Craig.
Mhm. Well, that's Megan's fault. She was setting you up.
Um, well, okay, so the story that comes to mind is just an example of sometimes we get weird questions when we're out in the parks. So anyone in the parks industry knows if you walk out in the parks and you've got your ID badge or you're branded and someone from the public approaches you and they say, "Do you work for the parks?" You never know where that question is going to go. It could
Mhm.
be a compliment, it could be a criticism, it could be a complaint. You never know. So I was out in the park a few weeks ago, and I got approached by someone who asked if I worked for the parks. And through conversation, I was essentially blamed for the geese in the park.
Oh.
I had to explain to this gal that I did not personally bring the geese there, but it is a park by a lake, and geese like water and land, and the park has water and land. So the geese will be here because we're outside in the park.
Mhm. So
So
they didn't fill out a registration form to have walking hours by the lake.
yeah, the geese didn't have a permit apparently.
They didn't fill out the paperwork.
Yep.
Well, have you fined the geese yet? You need to give them a citation.
yeah, yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay, so what question would you like to leave for the next person?
Whew. I didn't have this prepared, so you're putting me on the spot.
I know. I probably should have done this in our interview, giving you a little heads up. I'm thinking I'm
Oh,
going
you might have actually said it, and I have since forgotten. I think the question I would like to ask the next person is, what is an, a win or a great accomplishment that you are proud of? This is often a thankless industry, and we don't often um, tout our own accomplishments very often. So this question is setting the next person up to share their success.
Are you okay with answering that question? Do you have the win or accomplishment that you're proud of?
Ooh. Well, I think, like I shared earlier, being selected for the extern program is something I'm really, really proud of, and thrilled to be able to participate in that. That felt really good when I got that phone call that I was selected.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely going to have to keep in touch,
Yeah.
and I will be in Orlando. I'm going to try to go to the YPN. I'm going to be pulled in 1,000 different directions when I get
Oh, I'm
there,
sure.
but I really want to attend whatever I can, especially with YPN and my
They're a great
facility.
group. We have a lot of fun.
Yeah, so hopefully we can meet up in a few, almost getting approached 30 days, or I don't know,
Yeah.
30, 35, 40 days. Yeah, we'll be getting on a plane for long.
Yeah.
But well, thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing your story. And I mean, you're going to be one of the rising stars. I'm so glad to be able to help this industry highlight people like yourself.
Thanks, Craig. It was great chatting.
Yep. Have an awesome week.
You
Thanks,
too.
Audrey. All right. Bye. All right. So that was Audrey over in Washington. Let me not butcher the name again. Let's see. It's Chelan. I'm going to do it. I wish she was here to correct me. In Washington. Great little city. Love her career. And it just goes to show that, if you apply yourself, remember, she's got a few rejections, but she kept going. She kept putting herself out there. I love that she said, give me the next confrontation, give me the next difficult situation of a parent or a citizen, and let me learn how to handle these. That, Audrey, is great advice for everyone on earth, but definitely in Parks and Rec. And I promise you, no one above you will shy away from giving you the opportunity to handle a tough situation. But it was great for Audrey to notice that that is what's going to make her into the leader she needs to be if she wants to move up in really any profession. So I don't think Parks and Rec is exceptional to that one. When you can handle challenging situations in an industry, that's what leadership is. So really appreciate that little insight. Definitely want to take that one to the bank. Okay, so we have a great lineup for the rest of the week. We've of course we have the big NRPA convention coming up. We are going to try to put together some little daily Parks and Rec show. Let's go meet at a restaurant and, just everybody try to get together. And I really want to thank everybody for just participating, coming on the show. And I think a great way to do it and meet everyone in person is going to be at the NRPA convention. So that was actually a suggestion I got this morning from one of my favorite guests, James Garrett, who's going to be there, and he's a regular on the maintenance show. So thanks, James, for sending me that on LinkedIn this morning. And then now remember, if you are a vendor and you want to help me co-create a show specific to your in your part of Parks and Recreation. So a great example would be, let's say you're a playground manufacturer and you want to create a playground show about inclusiveness and the science of playground and that all the big studies that they have, and you want to create a weekly show on that. Let's get together. This is kind of what we're looking to do in this third phase of the Daily Parks and Rec show. Phase 1 was start. Phase 2 was understand the industry, the story, who we were as a media company. And then phase 3 is find those strategic partners that want to help co-create and provide the expertise to the industry. And then let's make something special for the industry that they can watch and educate themselves on. And I think one of the things we realized was that you could spend 40 years in the urban forestry division of Parks and Recreation, and that wouldn't prepare you for special events at all. And so you can see how special events, urban forestry, aquatics, project management, they really are standalone masteries and standalone alone expertise that we could create and are going to create separate shows, all part of the DPRS Media Co. And that there are businesses that this is their part of Parks and Rec that they help provide. They help the public servants provide service for their citizens. And so this is kind of where we are right now. We've got a lot of great conversations going on. If you'd like to help us co-create a show on something very specific, this would be a weekly or a monthly show, then please hit me up on LinkedIn and let's talk about it. All right, so we're going to close out with 2 little promos. One's going to be promoting my close friend and 40 years of experience in youth sports. What a great man in Aaron Locks. And he has a magnificent company called the National Academy of Athletics. So if you are if you're looking for a partner to help you with some sports that maybe you're not the best at, maybe you have an unbelievable soccer program, a baseball program, but you want to start volleyball and you just don't really have the expertise to do it, but you have the facilities, then you need to reach out to Aaron Locks, and he provides all the programming, coaching, turnkey, whatever. He finds a way to kind of partner with you and, tailor fit what you need so that you can offer these programs without having to master every single sport, pickleball, all the new stuff that comes out. And he does a weekly show with the Daily Parks and Rec show called Youth Sports Mastery, where Aaron does not talk enough about the business that he does in helping, which I think he should. But he actually just, after 40 years of being in business, he just finds he has so much connections in coaching and refereeing and athletic directors. And after 40 years of working in that part of the industry, he weekly brings on some powerhouses. And I'm in the background helping to produce, so I get to listen to the shows and the comments and the guests. And it is just a great weekly show on youth sports every Thursday, 1:30 p.m. I cannot say enough about him and his guests and what he does for the industry and the amount of knowledge and wisdom that shows up for an hour every Thursday at 1:30. So check that out if you have any interest in youth sports. And if working with Aaron's company is something that I think is a good fit for you, definitely give him a shot because he really is kind of a one of a kind and does business across all of America. So love what he does. So anyway, I'm going to play a promo for that. And then I'm going to play the promo for DPRS Media Co., which is everything that we're doing to kind of as an explainer of what we're trying to accomplish with the Daily Parks and Rec show. And that'll be me just signing off. All right. So I will see y'all here tomorrow. Y'all have an awesome day. Love you guys. Thanks. Bye.
At DPRS Media Co., we don't just create content. We elevate community through storytelling. Now, we're proud to introduce the newest addition to the family. Welcome to Youth Sports Mastery, the podcast where champions are shaped, not just on the field, but in life. Hosted by National Academy of Athletics founder Aaron Locks. Youth Sports Mastery dives deep into how youth sports can empower kids, strengthen communities, and build leaders. From coaching culture to recreation strategy, and from player development to parent impact, every episode brings game-ready insight from the people making it happen. Youth Sports Mastery goes live every Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Only on the Daily Parks and Rec Show, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics and powered by DPRS Media Co. This is where purpose meets play.
Welcome to DPRS Media Co., the first media company built for the people behind the Parks and Rec community. We don't just cover on Parks and Rec, we elevate it, we amplify it, we honor it. At the heart of everything we do is one mission: to serve the public servants, the professionals who design, maintain, and lead the parks that shape our communities. Under the Daily Parks and Rec Show, we produce 6 powerful platforms. Leadership in Parks and Rec, a spotlight on directors, superintendents, and visionaries shaping the future of public spaces. Facility maintenance, where the boots hit the ground, a deep dive into the systems, crews, and craftsmanship that keep our parks clean, safe, and beautiful. Young Professionals Network, shining a light on the next generation of Parks and Rec. Students, interns, and mentors sharing how we build a legacy together. Youth Sports Mastery, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics. This series is for coaches, parents, and rec leaders working to make youth sports fun, fair, and meaningful again. The Rec Room, hosted by the passionate leaders of Henry County Parks and Rec. This show brings frontline energy and real-life stories from the field. And the weekly Parks and Rec Post, our official newsletter delivering stories, insights, and community wins every week. We are DPRS Media Co., LLC, a media company with a mission to uplift the professionals who serve every community, every park, every day.